שלום וברכה, מוריי ורבותיי, שלום וברכה. בעזרת השם, בזכות הצדיק רבי חיים פיטו, בזכות כל הצדיקים, הקדוש ברוך הוא בעזרת השם הוא ייתן לכל הקהל ולכל הקהילה ברכה והצלחה, סייעתא דשמיא גדולה, מלכא דעלמא וכתב זכייתא, זכות הצדיק רבי חיים תייקן בעדיכם, ושהקדוש ברוך הוא בעזרת השם ישפוך לכם שפע עד בלי די, and may בעזרת השם the light of Hanukkah illuminate our lives and bring us to a place of גאולה בכל מכל כל אמן. אז בני רבותיי, ברוך השם, today is the first day of the holy holiday of Hanukkah. החג, where we celebrate miracles that HaKadosh Baruch Hu did for Am Yisrael. And in specific, the two main miracles where Chazal taught us being the cause of such a celebration. We all know the big miracle with the Pach HaShemen, the miracle where HaKadosh Baruch Hu caused for a small little jar of olive oil to last 8 days, and therefore we light 8 days of candle to symbolize the miracle. But even before that, a big miracle that happened with Am Yisrael with the war of the Hashmonaim. As we know that after the Greek attacked Yerushalayim, destroyed Yerushalayim, it said that there was a small group of Jews called the Hashmonaim. They were a group of Rabbanim, they were a group of learners, of scholars. They had no involvement in war and in material and in fighting, nothing. But an energy of Gvurah, of strength, came within them. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu did a miracle that this small group of people were able to overcome what? Were able to overcome an entire empire. Where the entire Greek army completely fell to its knees, to its destruction, and handed a few Rabbanim. So the question that we've had every single year is what happened to that small group of very successful people? That small group that today we read in our tefillah, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave Me'atim Beyad Merubim. A small group of people that were in the hands of a big group of people that came out victorious. Where are they? So as we know, it says in Gemara and Baba Batra that the entire family of the Hashmonaim got destroyed, got erased. Well, not only that they lost their kingdom, but they don't exist anymore. That they don't even have tzetzaim, they don't even have great-grandchildren. That entire group and all their kids completely were wiped off of the face of the earth. So the question is, what happened? And why didn't they continue their streak of victory and survival onwards in the generations and at least come to a place of being present? So there's a story in Masechet Baba Batra that says in the Maaseh, what actually happened that caused the Hashmonaim to actually be wiped out. It said that one time when the Hashmonaim ruled, which they were from the tribe of Levi, they were not even from the tribe of Yehuda. They had a slave, his name was Hordus. And this slave Hordus was a young boy. And he always had like a love, a ratzon, a will with one of the daughters of Bet Hashmonaim, of the house of Hashmonaim. But he always knew that he was a slave and he was a goy. And the Hashmonaim, they were Jews. And they were kings. So there was never a connection. One day Hordus was sitting, and the Gemara says that HaKadosh Baruch Hu whispered a voice in his ear. And that voice told Hordus, anyone that will come forward and try to create a ma'apecha, a revolution to their owners, will succeed today. Hordus, when he heard this voice that was whispered in his ear, he said, maybe this is from the will of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the will of an opportunity that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is giving me to take. So it says that day Hordus came forward and he rebelled over his owners, which were Hashmonaim. And in that one day, he killed every single Hashmonai and he turned into what? Melech Hordus, King Hordus, which as we know destroyed so much of Bnei Israel, killed so much of Bnei Israel. It was a terrible Rasha in the history of Bnei Israel. It said that one of the family members he left alive. And this one family member was who? Was one of the daughters that he always wanted to marry. So now that he became king, it says in the Gemara that he decided he's going to marry her. A voice came into her head, and it was clearly a voice from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, where it said that this voice started to make her to go crazy, where she got up one day and she said, anyone that is from house of Hashmonaim, and anyone that says that I'm from house Hashmonaim is a liar, because I'm the last one. And she said that voice that came within her consumed her until she jumped out of the window and she suicided and she died. And the Gemara concludes, that is how Chashmonaim actually came to a place of being completely erased. So our question is, how can such a family that have so much success and so much value within our life, within our Torah, come to a place of completely being erased, but in such a cruel way, that one of their slaves slaughtered one by one? What happened here? So as we know about that, we can learn from this week's Parasha actually the answer and a big clue of how we should act celebrating this holiday with this miracle. We see in this week's Parasha that Yaakov in Allah blesses his son Yehuda. And the blessing is what? Lo tasur mimech Yehuda. What does that mean? The bracha that all kingdomship and exclusive kingdomship of Am Yisrael will stay in the hands of who? Of Yehuda. To the point where the Gemara says that a person that tried to go against Malchut Bet David, meaning a man that tries to challenge the kingdomship of Yehuda, it is considered and it is valued like he's challenging who? Challenging HaKadosh Baruch Hu himself. Where the law of Yehuda will always hold kingdomship and always sit on the throne of Am Yisrael, could never be challenged. But we see with Hanukkah, it was challenged and it was successfully passed hands. Where for many, many years, who ruled? The Chashmonaim. And the Chashmonaim weren't even from the tribe of Yehuda. So what gave the Chashmonaim such a power to hold on and to succeed in holding the kingdomship for so many years until they came to a very, very bad ending? So we thought about this for many years, and maybe we came up with a beautiful little thought. When we light the candles of Hanukkah, we light the light, the candle, not just from the significance of turning on the little candle. There is a mitzvah like no other mitzvot, which is glorifying it. Pirsuma denisa. Showing the whole world our light. Illuminating the darkness of the night with our light. Clearly, like what all Chazal say, and all the Mekubalim say, that the value of spreading the light of the Chanukiah doesn't just end in that actual specific mitzvah. It's here to teach us a big lesson. The lesson of what? The lesson of our obligation and our responsibility to spread the light, which is the light referring to what? To the Torah Kedusha. We mentioned about that throughout all our classes, that there is a secret to reach to kingdomship. There is a secret where we can reach to success. There is a secret to reach to control, to wealth, to fame, to all the things that man could desire. It's not what we think it is, actually chasing them, but it's doing one simple thing: attaching ourselves to HaKadosh Baruch Hu's kingdomship. And when we attach ourselves to HaKadosh Baruch Hu's kingdomship, which is His Torah, we become like kings. Like what the Gemara says, that Talmidei Chachamim, those who study, they wear the garment of kingdomships like they are kings themselves. Where the Torah itself, it is Malchut, it is kingdomship. So we said maybe we can say something very, very simple. The Chashmonaim, when they came up and they fought the Greek, they had a koach, they had a strength that wasn't just hidden within their bodies, within their hands, within their swords, because they didn't even know how to use a sword. They were not soldiers, they didn't have the bodies of soldiers. They had a different kingdomship on their side. It was a kingdomship of what? Of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. They were scholars. They were tzaddikim, they were rabbanim. So they had kingdomship within them thanks to the Torah. So the moment they went to war, they were bound to be kings because they already held the crown of Torah on them. So they won. And they took the position of kingdomship. And they were able to hold it as long as they were what? As long as they held in true kingdomship, which is Torah. But the moment that the kings, the Chashmonaim, started to leave the Torah and started to go against the Torah, they lost grasp on that kingdomship. And when they lost the grasp on that kingdomship, they all came to a very tragic end, because there is a rule: kingdomship does not leave Yehuda. And from here, Abotai, we can learn actually a big, big lesson. When we sit down around the Chanukiah, we understand that our koach, our strength, doesn't just come from being who we are as individuals, each one with his job, each one with his task, each one with his statue, etc. Our koach, our strength, comes from what? It comes from the light that is within us. It comes from the light that we're able to spread on forward. But that light that is within us, that is what represents us. And if we are holding on to that light, and if we are brightening that light, then we have koach. Then we have strength. That is what gives us our ability to succeed and to drive forward and to conquer and to become bigger people. This Chag, we have the obligation to spread that, to not keep it to ourselves, to greaten our reach around the world. And we do so with lighting the menorah. Lighting the menorah is to show the whole world where we stand, that we are who we are the Bnei Israel, and our koach comes from the fact that we follow HaKadosh Baruch Hu's will. So we're not afraid to publicize it out to the world. But we cannot forget that the source and the essence of this entire story didn't come from soldiers. It came from people that sat and studied Torah. They were able to win the war. Because they won the war, they were able to make the miracle of the shemen, of the tzintzenet, the jar of oil. Because of the fact that they studied Torah, this entire Chag exists. So when we sit around the menorah, it's a time, Rabotai, of true opportunity to connect ourselves with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and to bring to our home, to bring to our family, to bring to our individuals maybe don't have time to study Torah, an access of light, of shefa, of awakening of who we are. And at this period of time, Rabotai, we should really take the opportunity to spread that light and to really stand with our members, with our children, and to show where we are and what we stand for. And by doing so, B'at Hashem, we will succeed in all our endeavors. So B'ezrat Hashem, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will give us the koach to spread the light of HaKadosh Baruch Hu and to be successful in it, in order that we will all achieve within our own life to kingdomship. Amen.
Amen.